In the darkness of deserted roads, there are nameless figures, always lurking, always watching. They don't bang on your door. They don't scream. They just appear right when you're at your most tired and alone. Tonight I'll tell you 3 true stories from people who came face to face with a stranger. And not all of them were lucky enough to live to tell the tale. Story 1. Night on the highway, the darkness behind the wheel. I was 18 that year, just starting my first semester at a community college in Uvalde, Texas. A quiet, uneventful town often forgotten among the dusty miles of red earth. But I didn't mind. Every weekend I'd find a reason to drive to San Antonio to visit my best friend Andrew. It was a Saturday night. No rain, no wind. Just a thick, unmoving blanket of darkness. I was driving my old '95 Toyota pickup, an aging metal box with a broken gas gauge. I had this habit of calculating mileage manually after each fill-up a mental game I played. This time, I miscalculated. While cruising down Route 90 a bit more than halfway to the city, the engine started sputtering. My heart skipped a beat. I hit the gas. A groan. Then silence. The truck stalled. I guided it onto the roadside hazard lights blinking weakly in the endless dark. No signal. No gas station. No street lights. I sighed, reclined my seat, and told myself, I'd deal with it in the morning. I was nearly asleep when I heard a faint click like a car door softly shutting. I opened my eyes and looked into the rearview mirror. A large truck had stopped just a few meters behind mine. No headlights, no footsteps, just stillness. I stepped out and waved. Hey, I ran out of gas. No response. I walked closer. The truck was empty. I scanned around. The roadside trees were like black walls. A chilly wind began to stir. I hurried back to my truck, locked the doors, and sat still. Suddenly, knock knock, a sharp rap on the driver's window. I jolted. A tall man stood there, face hidden under a hoodie. He smiled, a crooked grin. Need some help, kid? He asked. I cracked the window slightly. I'm out of gas. Do you have a spare can? He nodded. I do, but I need your help getting it. I hesitated. He turned back toward his truck, but didn't open the trunk or reach for anything. He just stood there, waiting. As I stepped out, he turned back to me. First, give me your wallet and your phone. His voice was calm, firm, no hesitation, like he'd done this many times before. I backed away. I don't have anything. I saw you on your phone earlier. I said nothing more. I ran. I dashed straight into the woods beside the road. Dry leaves crackled underfoot, branches whipped my face. Behind me, his voice bellowed, I'm gonna kill you, you little shit. I zigzagged left and right again and again until all I could hear was my heartbeat. I crouched behind an old oak, holding my breath. He passed within a few feet, cursing, then faded into the trees. I didn't move, didn't sleep. I waited until dawn around 5 a.m. Back at my truck, the doors were open. Everything had been rifled through. The glove box slashed. My favorite flannel jacket gone. Etched into the windshield with something sharp were the words, "Next time don't run." I didn't report it to the police, because maybe there wouldn't be anything to find. But from that night on, I always made sure my gas tank was full before any trip. And I learned something. On a dark, deserted road, the scariest thing isn't an accident. It's someone like him, standing in the shadows, waiting for your guard to drop. Story 2. Screams from the trunk. Sometimes, people appear like saviors in the dead of night, but not everyone is good. And some cries for help you only hear when it's already too late. I was a freshman, just 18 years old, driving home after finals week. To avoid traffic, I chose to drive late at night, a decision I would never forget. On a pitch-black highway, my car suddenly started shaking violently. My heart pounded when I saw the gas gauge had hit E. The old Mazda I was driving had long had issues with the fuel sensor, but this time, I really broke down. In the middle of nowhere, surrounded by trees, no lights, no people. I turned on the hazard lights and waited, hoping someone would drive by. About 20 minutes later, a black car quietly approached. I waved. The car turned around and parked just behind me. A man got out bald, round glasses wearing a worn-out windbreaker. "Need some help?" he asked with a fleeting smile that never reached his eyes. I told him I was out of gas. Without hesitation, he offered to drive me to the nearest gas station. With no cell signal and no better option, I agreed after making sure my car was locked tight. The air in his car was heavy, filled with a strange scent I couldn't place. We chatted a bit. He asked where I studied, where I was from. His voice was calm and steady, but his eyes never left the road. I started getting nervous. 15 minutes had passed. No gas station. Only thick woods and darkness. I asked softly, "Are we almost there?" "Almost. Just a little further," he said, still staring straight ahead, gripping the wheel. Then suddenly, thud thud, a strange banging sound came from the back of the car, like someone hitting the trunk. Startled, I turned. He kept driving, face unreadable. I stammered, "Did you hear that?" He smiled faintly. Probably something fell over in the trunk. But then a scream tore through the night from inside the trunk. This time there was no mistaking it. It was human. A woman. I turned to him. His eyes locked onto mine, empty, numb, like he'd done this before. Without waiting another second, I unclipped my seatbelt, threw open the door, and leapt out. He did too, his hand reaching for my shoulder, but I slipped free. I ran full speed toward distant lights, a small diner at the end of the road. I burst inside, pale as a ghost. There's someone in his trunk. There's a woman locked in his trunk. The staff quickly called the police. Meanwhile, he floored the gas and vanished into the night. I don't know where he went, only that his cold, hollow stare haunted me for years. The police arrived, took my statement, and documented everything about his car. I never found out if they caught him, but I hope they did, because that scream from someone not as lucky as me still echoes in my head every time I drive at night. Sometimes, help comes when you need it most. But sometimes, it's a trap you never saw coming. Story 3. The glass of water in a stranger's home. Some nights feel longer than time itself, and there are moments when you realize life and death can be separated by just a sip of water. I'm a night shift nurse in a small town in North Carolina. That day, after 12 grueling hours on my feet, all I wanted was to go home, grab a bite, and crash into bed. Around 3 a.m., I stopped at a gas station to fill up $10 worth of gas and grab a cold sandwich from the fridge. While I was eating in a corner by the counter, I noticed a man in a black hoodie standing just outside the door. He kept glancing at me but didn't come in. The feeling was off. But I told myself, maybe he's just waiting for someone. I went back to my car, finished refueling, and got on the road. 5 minutes later, I smelled gasoline inside my car. The gas gauge suddenly dropped to E, even though I had just filled it. I panicked. The car shook, then died. I pulled over quickly. Around me, just sparse woods, eerily quiet. Not a single other car. I called my husband. Thankfully, he picked up. When I told him about the weird man at the gas station, his voice tightened. "He might have cut your fuel line. Don't stay in the car, it's dangerous. Look for a nearby house." Just then, a car with no headlights slowly pulled up behind mine. My heart nearly exploded. I yanked the keys out, locked the door, and ran into the woods, following a faint path toward a cabin a few hundred meters away. I rang the doorbell non-stop. Finally, an older man, white hair, around 60, opened the door in his pajamas. "My car broke down. Someone's following me. I need a phone, a charger. He hesitated, then let me in. The living room was dimly lit. I sat down, heart still racing. He said politely, "Take a seat. I'll grab a charger. Would you like a glass of water?" I nodded. He stepped into the kitchen. But then, I caught a glimpse of his reflection in a wall mirror facing the kitchen. My blood turned to ice. He was adding something to the water. Carefully. Precisely. A clear liquid that swirled, then vanished. I clenched my fists. My brain screamed, "Don't drink it. Don't stay." He returned with a polite smile in the glass. "Here you go." I accepted it, but didn't sip. Instead, I pretended I think my phone's coming back to life. "Give me a second." I stood inching toward the door. He asked, "Leaving already? Don't you want to rest a little?" I smiled faintly. "My husband's almost here. I just want to check if he's outside." I grabbed the door handle and bolted. Behind me, I heard him yell, the door swinging open, but I didn't look back. I dove into the bushes, sent my husband my location right before my phone died. Luckily, he arrived 10 minutes later. I waved to him from the dark, trembling like a leaf. He pulled me into the car. I broke down sobbing. Back at my car, the rear window was smashed, the trunk open. Someone had rifled through it. From the man watching me at the gas station, to a glass of water that may have held something I never want to know. Sometimes survival doesn't come from bravery, but from timely instinct. If I drunk that water, I might not be here to tell you this story. There are encounters in life that don't leave memories, they leave scars. The feeling of being watched, being hunted, it's not just fear, it's a warning. Never let your guard down, not even with the kindest face. If these stories made your heart race just a little, leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next terrifying journey. Sleep well, if you can.